Pessoal, vocês sabem pronunciar certinho as palavras seguintes em inglês? World, squirrel, comfortable, earth, coffee, Little Italy, two, não é two. Hoje descobri a forma perfeita de ensinar essas palavras difíceis para vocês. Pessoal, hoje vocês vão aprender a pronunciar essas palavras e sabe quem vai te ensinar? Vocês achavam que eu ia ensinar isso? Pessoal, eu adoro ensinar gírias, falar um pouco de gramática, mas pronúncia vocês precisam de um professor verdadeiro. Se você me pergunta como pronunciar squirrel, eu vou dizer, é só falar, squirrel, não tem nenhum problema, squirrel, 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 squirrel. Esse bairro de Nova York, Little Italy. É Little Italy, vocês não sabem? Por isso, eu não vou ensinar para vocês. Quem vai? Um professor de Cambly. Vocês sabem do que é Cambly, a gente já fez vídeos para Cambly. Antes, é uma plataforma que você entra e você imediatamente está conectado com um professor de inglês falante nativo 24 horas por dia. Pode ser um canadense, um americano, australiano, britânico. E aí você vai praticar um a um. E se você já teve uma professora, um professor que você gosta, pode programar aulas com ela ou com ele. Mas se você precisa estudar inglês uma hora diferente todos os dias, se você está bem desorganizado, é só entrar, sempre tem professores esperando. Mas antes de mais nada, pode falar, antes de mais nada? Antes de que mais nada, português, espanhol. Bom, não sei. Tem um link na descrição do vídeo. É só clicar e se cadastrar. Você vai ganhar 15 minutos de aula com Cambly de graça, ok? Aí você pode entrar e testar o sistema, ver se você gosta. Então, eu escolhi um professor que tinha avaliações bem altas, entrei em contato com ele, comecei a aula e ele foi ótimo em explicar como pronunciar o inglês. Então, vou entrar em outra aula com ele agora e vamos juntos, ele e eu, decifrar como pronunciar essas palavras tão difíceis em inglês. Vamos lá? Hey, Dan.
Hey, Seth.
Dan, I understand you are a Canadian living in Mexico. That's what Cambly tells me.
Cambly is correct.
Listen, I really need some help explaining to Brazilians how to pronounce some American words. Is this something you can help me with? Are you good at teaching pronunciation?
I like to think I am. I've been teaching pronunciation for about 10 years. I've been teaching English for 12.
Before we even do that, should I be worried as a Brazilian to have a Canadian teaching me as opposed to an American? How similar are they?
Especially for non-native speakers, people who are learning English as a second language. I don't think anybody can tell the difference between an American and a Canadian.
So quite honestly, I can't tell the difference. Okay, let me ask you about some of these very difficult words. Let's start with the killer one, world.
You can do it sound by sound, okay? There are 4 sounds. I always tell people it's very, very important not to confuse letters with sounds because sometimes in English, they don't, they're not always the same. And I always tell people too that in order to make any sound or say any word in any language, you have to have your mouth in the correct position. And your mouth consists of, you could say 4 or 4.5 things. Your lips, your tongue, your teeth, your jaw. Maybe you could add a 5th thing or a 4.5 thing is your throat. Some sounds you use your voice for, where your voice, makes a vibration. Some sounds, they're like a whisper, like a ch, 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 like a CH. You're not using your voice. Getting back to world. So the first sound is w. And most of the sound here comes from your lips, okay? And you're using your voice. So you purse your lips as if you're giving a kiss, and it's just w, 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 w. The second sound is, this is a combination of the vowel O and the consonant R. You're combining them into the sound of Yeah, the O-R in world is pronounced like just like E-R, like teacher.
How about the word were?
Yeah, you can say E-R-E in the word were. It's the same as O-R in world. The next sound is the letter L, which always makes the sound of L. Now that's a long sound, okay, which means you can extend it, and you can say that sound for as long as you have breath in your lungs. You are using your voice, so it's not a voiceless or an air or a whispering sound. So now the O, to make the sound of Your tongue has to be touching the roof of your mouth. And then the D, it's short. D, D. This is similar to L, and maybe this is why people have difficulty. Your tongue has to be touching the roof of your mouth to make the sound of D, D, D. But the difference is your tongue comes down very suddenly, very quickly.
So the L, so you're kind of going, the tongue is touching, oh, D. It's going to come
right.
up.
And then, if you put it all together, world.
And these other words I have on my list here are not that different. So squirrel, and that's the same sounds. Earl.
Some letters or sounds are easy to make, but to make the transition from one to another can be difficult.
Another thing is the vowels are the problem. We just tend to flatten out some of these vowels. We don't really pronounce them the way they're taught. So squirrel, am I even pronouncing the E?
You could make the argument that it's a one-syllable word or a two-syllable word, squirrel. But English pronunciation in many ways is very lazy. And it's okay. You're probably going to sound more natural if you're lazy. And some other words like that, restaurant, 2 syllables, but really it should be restaurant. And same with vegetable. People say vegetable. Non-English speakers, they say vegetable. And another one is comfortable. Nobody says comfortable. We say comfortable.
Once you lose the vowel, then suddenly you've got M, F, R, and T all in a row.
Comfortable.
Wow, it's really 5 consonants.
A lot of these words that end in A-B-L-E, most of them are not pronounced able, like it's not comfortable. A problem that is very, very common for a lot of people is the difference between can and can't. Because, if typically when you use can't in a sentence, you don't hear the t sound at the end. For example, if I say, I can't help you, I'm not saying I can't help you, but as English speakers, we know the way you stress it, because if the word is positive, if it's this word, we say, I can help you, I can help you, I can help you, I can help you, can. But if we say can't, we're really stressing the A in can't. English learners pronounce them both the same. And sometimes when a student will say, I can talk to you tomorrow, and I have to ask them, like I say, you can or you can't talk to me tomorrow.
Let's figure that out. I can talk to you tomorrow. I can't talk to you tomorrow. Okay.
And then when somebody answers, they pronounce it differently. They don't say, yes, I can. They say, yes, I can. In the first one, yes, I can. We clearly hear a strong A sound, like like hat. But if we add this, it changes back. Yes, I can help you. Yes, I can.
So Brazilians seem quite often to pronounce the word to as chu. E vocês sabem que vocês fazem isso, tá? Vamos resolver isso aqui agora. So let's start from the most important question. To, and to. Are they all pronounced the same?
There's zero difference. They're identical. They're not similar. They are 100% identical.
But obviously, depending on how you use them, they might sound different. Like I'm going to the store. I'm not going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, of course, it depends on the words that surround them. If we're talking about the preposition to, I'm going to the store. To. But realistically, if you isolate them as words, the preposition to, the other one like also is to, and the number 2, exactly the same.
So to, the TOO and TWO usually are stressed more, basically.
Those, I don't think those are ever pronounced as to. It's only the preposition to that is sometimes pronounced as to.
So I'm going to declare right now.
You said it right there. You said I'm going to.
I'm going to declare
Perfect.
That they are not all pronounced the same.
You could say you could put an asterisk beside that and say that's an exception.
So I don't think the problem is with TO. It's with the ones that are really stressed, and they do seem to always say chu. And so then what happens is often I'll say, well, pronounce it like the pronoun, and Portuguese has the same pronoun as Spanish, tu. But that's not quite what we say either.
Again, just, repeat tu. It's very casual. Yeah, I guess in Spanish and Portuguese, the tu, it's not really the pronunciation. It's more like the inflection, tu. Yeah. But just tu. Maybe it's a mental block. Maybe sometimes your eyes and your ears and your mouth lie to each other. And
where is the tongue there on tu?
The only difference between the t and d is your voice. Everything else is exactly the same. Your tongue has to start touching the roof of your mouth, and then it comes down. So I always tell people, imagine you have a switch on your throat and you can turn your voice on and off, just like you're turning the lights on and off. No change. The only thing I'm doing is changing. I'm whispering for the and I'm using my voice for duh, 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 duh. And then ooh, which could be, you know, like a double O, like tooth, or in Spanish and Portuguese, the same sound, which is the sound of you, ooh. And this is, again, similar to, you know, you're pursing your lips and making almost like a kiss sound, ooh. And if you notice with that sound, that has nothing to do with the tongue. You can actually roll your tongue, ooh. I'm moving my tongue like this. As maybe when they see the letter W, they have some kind of mental block or something, or something just changes in their brain and sends bad information to their mouth.
Ok, espero que tenha gostado dessa aula. Eu gostei muito. Um professor do tipo que eu vou gostar. Ele obviamente tem muita experiência e sabe explicar coisas que eu nem imaginava, né? A língua, a boca. Talvez você precise de uma aula ou continuar essa aula com ele. Vocês vão ter 15 minutos de graça lá. Não esqueça, tem link na descrição. Ou talvez você prefere outro professor para praticar a conversa, porque é só conversando que vocês realmente vão aperfeiçoar o inglês. Mais um anúncio. Amigo Gringo responde. Volta na sexta-feira. Sexta-feira? Oh. Amigo Gringo responde, volta nos Fridays, ok? Vão ser vídeos mais breves, mas estou sentindo falta de postar nas Fridays. Se você conhece alguém que precisa muito melhorar sua pronúncia em inglês, compartilhe o vídeo com essa pessoa. E não esqueça de dar um like e inscreva-se no canal Amigo Gringo. Mas já está inscrito, né? Acho que sim.